Welcome, everybody. I'm glad y'all can make it out today. Brother Chris is still gone, so he asked me. Start out with prayer requests. Anybody got anything? Any announcements need to be made? Yes, ma'am. Anybody else? That one right there should get you a bow. Yes, ma'am.
Probably need to talk about that. I don't know how many's gonna be able to work that. I think when I looked in the paper, there was about 17 football players. And I'm not sure how many band members there'll be, but I think all of them's supposed to be coming. And this is kind of my ideal when this first come out. Instead of the church feed them 2 or 3 times, I thought we could get 8 or 10 pots of spaghetti and serve it, do it. But I'm not sure who's doing the salad. I'll get with Brother Chris on that, but we're gonna need somebody to work it. I open my mouth, and me and Merlin's, Jared's got a football game. It's 4 hours away, so we're gonna be gone. It's his first one. We always go to the first one at Andalusia. So I think we'll be serving them about 3:30, but we'll work the details out and pass it on to the church, and appreciate what y'all do.
There's more that signed up than Sunday. I checked it when I come in.
I think there's 9 pots of spaghetti, and I'm not sure about the salad.
Yeah, there's more than there was Sunday, because I was the only one that had food salad Sunday.
We just need to show up, show out for that. It won't be about an hour and a half, and then it'll be over with. But anyway, I wanted to let you know that.
Well, we'll write down. So you said more salad is needed? I think so. Anyway, we'll get on some salad or something to get something going. Anybody else? We got the fire chief at Fort Payne. His wife was like 51, 52. She passed away unexpectedly, so please remember him. And a member of my family has an unspoken prayer request. Well, anybody else? If not, then get together. Yeah. Well, let's make sure to be praying for his family and all that goes good. I think the service is supposed to be here, ain't it? Geraldine? Yep. Yep. I appreciate everybody coming and having this opportunity to be up here today. Starting a couple weeks ago, we was at the beach down Orange Beach, and we went to the Tanger Outlets. And that's kind of when this message started, and then about 2 days later, Chris asked me to do this today, so it kind of played together there for me. But the outlets are like a horseshoe, and on the inside of that horseshoe, there's a smaller one, and stores around each one of them. And the girls were going somewhere around the outer side, and I was going to a shoe store on the inner side of it. So I told them bye. I told them I'd meet them somewhere. Well, as I'm about to walk through the breezeway, there's a family coming out, and this little girl, I mean, she's probably 2-year-old, just walking good. She starts to dart out across the parking lot, and her daddy, hurries up and reaches up, gets her. And, of course, she is madder than all get out that she wasn't getting to go where she wanted to. But immediately upon seeing that, it went straight to my mind of oftentimes we think we know what we want, but God is kind of dragging us back saying, hey, that's not what's best for you in this moment. And it like I said, it stayed on my mind for a couple of days, and then Chris ended up texting me. I was like, man, that's pretty good little circumstance. But just we don't always get what we want from God.
That's right.
And sometimes it's for our own good. We don't know it at the time, but we pitch fit like that little girl did, and we're mad. And I remember a lot of times in my life where, I'm sitting there, I'm kind of, I don't know if you'd say mad with God, but misunderstanding the situation. I'm like, man, won't you answer me? Like, I feel like there's nothing going on, and in the moment, you just don't know. I mean, you're like, you think you know best, but you don't. And God's holding you in a certain situation, and it's always for a good purpose. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and it's going to start in verse 7. But it's Paul, and this guy, he's went from the worst person there could be to, doing great things for the Lord. And in this moment, and it's starting in verse 7, it says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn. And in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure." So God's allowing Satan to have this thorn placed in his life, and it don't describe what the thorn is to Paul. But we could probably all imagine what's a thorn in your life. It could be somebody you're dealing with. It could be a circumstance, a sickness, or many other things that a thorn is. It's uncomfortable. It's irritating. And Paul asked God to remove it, but God don't. And he says, "For this thing I besought the Lord thrice." He begged God 3 times. And I highly doubt it being a thorn that he just had a small little prayer riding down the road. But he actually earnestly got down on his hands and knees and begged God to have this taken out of his life. But God said unto him, "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." So Paul wants this gone because it's uncomfortable, and God's saying, "Hey, I got a purpose for you. I know it's uncomfortable, but I'm enough. And I want you to rely on me in this situation and to be humble through this." And that's where we grow. If you're always comfortable and everything's good, we're not growing. We're just sitting around pleased. And Like I said, Paul pleaded and begged, but the thorn was not removed. And, you know, it got me to thinking maybe sometimes we need to change our prayer. And a lot of times, like I said, I have been here where I say, God, please get me out of this situation. And most of the time it's because I did something stupid. But it got me in a situation, I'm begging God, I mean, with everything in me, get me out of this. But he don't. And maybe he left me there for a reason, so maybe we need to change our prayer from, God, get me out of this, to, God, what do you want me to get out of this? And, you know, yeah, it's terrible. In the military, when you go through basic and all that stuff, they tell you, embrace the suck. And that's because everything in your life is going to suck. And it does. But you grow from it. And you learn a lot in those moments. And you learn that you're stronger than you think you are. And in these circumstances, we learn that God is stronger than we think He is. We're not putting a limitation on what He can actually do. So, you know, sometimes being in the circumstance that you're in, it ain't always a bad thing. And we don't need to understand everything that God does. His ways are higher than our ways. And if we understood everything, then, I mean, how are you going to be blown away by a miracle if every bit of it made sense to you? So, His ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. And if God just gave us everything we wanted, we'd just be spoiled children. So, I know that I don't always give my kids what they want, and you know, a lot of times you'd think they hated me for it, but, you know, knowing better, you know, we keep that from them, and it's better for them in the long run, and that's the same sense as with God is doing with us in our lives. And sometimes it's not stuck in a situation. If we stop praying and just listing all the things that we feel. I've caught myself doing so to where it's like, I'm tired. I feel this. I feel that. I feel this. I feel that. I'm just going through all these things, but I haven't made a request to God yet. And in Philippians 4:6, it tells us to do just that. It says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto God. Supplication in that sentence is going to be humble. So it's not arrogant, it's not prideful, but truly getting down as Paul did when he had this thorn and he begged God. And he humbled himself before God. It still didn't remove his situation because God had bigger plans. But it's not always that way. Sometimes maybe we're stuck in the situation we're in because, like I said earlier, the only prayer you're given is riding down the road or when it's convenient to have a prayer. And we're not setting aside time to earnestly seek God's presence and making our requests known to God and begging Him for whatever it may be. And He may give it to you, but it may not be in His time yet. And you can turn over there. I'm not going to go through and read it, but John 5, starting in verse 1 through 15, is the man by the pool. And this man's been sick for unable to walk 38 years. I imagine during 38 years, this man's pleaded and begged and done everything he could to be healed. And for 38 years, he's just sat there. Just no prayers answered, nothing. He's just, at this point, if you read through it, I mean, he's just blaming others at this point, and I ain't got nobody to help me. I ain't got nothing, and he's just kind of lost all hope. And until Jesus comes along, and when Jesus comes along in this situation, no longer does the water matter. It is Jesus that's going to change his situation. And Jesus comes in, and he don't really waste a whole lot of time, but he makes a dangerous and bold command. He just says, rise up, take your mat. And maybe it's time we get up and pick up our mat and start going. And, start doing this walk a little better than what we're doing. To have a bold, dangerous prayer. A prayer that fervently begs God. And it not just for our own good, but if I'm getting down on my knees and just putting my face in the floor, that you may be better tomorrow, whatever situation you're going through or whatever you're going through. It don't matter, but the families that we talked about, lost loved ones, whatever, not being selfish, but begging and pleading with God to make other people's lives better, to be selfless in those things. And you think about the woman who was bleeding, she made a bold move. And she had the faith when she made that bold move, if I could just touch his garments, that would be enough. And it was. She was bold. She was dangerous. She didn't know she was going to be, back in those days, she could have been executed for doing such a thing. But she was bold about it, and she went forward, and she was healed from it. And in that passage, he says that her faith had made her whole. But God is the same today as he was 2,000 years ago. And all the New Testament where we're reading through and we see where God has healed these people, he's no different today. But have you been living your life with the faith of that woman? Where she said, if I can just touch him. And many other stories of the lame man who was dropped down through the roof. I mean, they didn't waste no time. They knew. They were sitting there tearing the roof off that place just to get him in there because they knew by their faith that in that moment he would be healed. So I ain't going to keep you long. It's kind of straight to the point is we need to be more bold and dangerous with our prayers and to not be lazy about praying. Lazy, I think Brother Jerry's talking about it Sunday where he's talking about, being more bold about witnessing to people and getting in our Bibles every day. And that stuck with me. And the very next day, I was at a chicken farm and talked to a woman. It was the farmer's wife, and I called to let her know I was on my way. And she told me, she was like, well, I'm in the hospital, but my husband will be there. I said, okay. And I get over there and deliver chicken. It was on my mind the whole time. And I got done, and I asked him, I said, is your wife's in the hospital? He said, yes, she had a bad seizure the other day. And I was like, well, man, do you care if I pray with you? And I got to do that, sitting out in the middle of a farm parking lot. It was all because, it brought it to my mind with Brother Jerry saying that. And I was like, man, I'm not doing this enough. I'm not seeking the opportunities and being bold enough in my faith, and I need to. So I looked for it, and the very next day, God presented an opportunity. And like I said, having the faith of these people, God's still the same God. Everything's not going to go our way. It's not going to be a perfect situation in our lives. But change your prayer to, what do you me to learn out of this situation. And just embrace it. Embrace where you're at in your life. You're there for a reason. You're growing for a reason. And you may be, like Brother Jerry said, the only person that can reach the person that's in the situation you're in. And that's about it. I just tried to get straight to the point on it. I don't want to keep everybody all day just rambling on, but we need to be more bold and, get in our prayers and start witnessing more. And I think we talked about Sunday school. We kind of laid over a little bit as church where it's, we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. And, we talked about that, and it was like, well, there's kind of a line at which I can't help your feelings get hurt. If it come from here, maybe your feelings need to get hurt. And I said it, and I don't want it to be took out of context. Prayer is good, and I just said all that. But today's day, David and Goliath, we'd be like, well, I'll go pray for him in another field. But that needed to be stopped, needed to be took care of, and David executed. And he took care of the situation. There was a line that was crossed, and he stood for God in that moment and took care of business. And sometimes we need to take this out to the world. We need to pray with this every day, be in it every day so that we can learn and be more bold when we go out in the world to share it with other people. So that's all I got. If anybody got anything to say, go ahead now. Good? All right. Well, Jimmy, you want to dismiss?